Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551. And as you see from the shirt that I'm wearing and my hat, and the hat that I'm wearing, though, you basically know what we're going to be talking about on this one. And this has to do this My 2 Cent video. And this one, obviously, I'm going to be bringing up is the Mario movie. And this is the My 2 Cent video for the week of December 29th to December 3rd. Hopefully, you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving, whether it was with friends or family, and hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of whatever Black Friday or Cyber Monday had to offer. But anyway, we got 4 stories to cover, including Nintendo apologizing for the current situation that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is in. And as I mentioned earlier, based on the hat and the shirt that I'm wearing, I want to give my thoughts on the second trailer that we had for the upcoming Super Mario Brothers movie, though. We also want to be talking about James Gunn and his idea of using DC video games and sort of connected them to sort of at least his take on the DC Cinematic Universe, or DC Extended Universe to be exact, and it's supposedly a story about basically some people's information in a GameStop database may have came out with a update from a response from GameStop itself. If you're interested in where I got the source of these informations, links will be in the description down below, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. The first one is a report that has come out that seems that Nier Automata sales has soared to 7 million copies sold worldwide, and a lot of it seems to be pointing to the Switch version that came out and all, though. So it's certainly nice to see this game getting the attention that it deserves, though. I think it's possible the Switch may have contributed to a certain degree, though. It is worth pointing out the game is available on other systems as well, but still nice to see that supposedly the Switch somehow contribute to this, though. This is very similar to basically what we've heard similar with Persona 5 Royal, which that also recently came out and has seen a spike in terms of how much games spike in its sales numbers following the release on the PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and of course the Nintendo Switch as well. We also learned that Time Magazine has sort of revealed their favorite games of 2022, though. Some of them I've seen are games like Elden Ring, which honestly wouldn't be surprising given how much that game really, in a way, kind of dominated 2022 in general, though. So if you're interested, they put out their lists, though. We also learned that basically Gran Turismo 7 could be the next PS5 and PS4 game that could be ported over to the PC. It wouldn't entirely surprise me if this happened, though, following several PC games like the Spider-Man games have done well on PC, God of War has. I think, although Sackboy, for what I understand, that did not do as well as some had hoped for, to be exact. But either way, it seems to be that could be the next game, Gran Turismo 7, be making its way over to PC, though. We also learned about several things regarding the Activision Blizzard purchase from Microsoft. We learned that Serbia has basically given the go-ahead for Microsoft to go ahead and purchase Activision Blizzard. They seem to be okay with it. This follows in a similar response we heard from Brazil and Saudi Arabia, though. We also learned that supposedly that there have been reports that Microsoft has held meetings with Sony in regards about Activision Blizzard here, mostly with Call of Duty, and it does seem there is also reports that Microsoft is looking to make certain concessions to satisfy the EU and possibly, I think, the CMA in England, to be exact, though. Honestly, I wouldn't be entirely surprised if some concessions are made, such as, say, a game like Call of Duty it cannot be exclusive to Xbox or anything like that. So we'll see what emerges to this, though. I still think it's most likely this deal will probably go through, but time will ultimately tell whether or not there's a major change or not, though. We also learned that the first Witcher obviously not only is getting a remake, but it's basically going to be taking the open world approach compared to how when the original Witcher came out, though. Although the reports are coming out that this game will probably come out after Witcher 4, which is still years away, to be exact, though. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with the remake of the first one, though, and if the remake of the first one does very well, Don't be surprised if we hear Witcher 2 getting the remake treatment, though. It wouldn't surprise me if we see something like that happen, though. We also learned that basically, Cyberpunk, the sales of Cyberpunk 2077 have done very well for CD Projekt Red's fiscal returns and all. It's sort of interesting to see how that game has rebound following its abysmal launch in 2020 though. It doesn't change the fact that that game should never have launched in that state in the first place though, but it is nice to know to see at least the game has basically rebound and all that stuff. We also learned that basically Monster Hunter Rise is no longer a Switch console exclusive anymore, as it's now reported that it will be coming to the PS5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X on Game Pass, and supposedly the date is aimed for January 20th though. So to me, I'm not the biggest Monster Hunter person out there though, and while it may sound a little bit unfortunate though, nevertheless though, I mean, obviously this sounds like this was just a timed exclusive though. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the time exclusive approach. To be exact though, I'm more of like the kind of exclusivity that we saw with Bayonetta 2. But those who are waiting to get their hands on Monster Hunter Rise and not on the Nintendo Switch won't have to wait any longer from what I've been hearing. We also learned that Monolith Soft has celebrated Xenoblade Chronicles 2's 5th anniversary by putting out a special artwork and all that. It certainly wasn't nice to have that as a launch title for the Nintendo Switch, as the series has certainly become, let's just say, found its place after the whole Operation Rainfall and all that stuff. Some people have criticized Xenoblade Chronicles 2 with its wafu or anime looks and all. Honestly, I am not bothered by that in any way. Although I will admit, when playing the game in portable mode, however, the visuals do kind of take a bit of a hit, which is a little bit unfortunate though. But still, nevertheless, nice to see the game is being recognized though. It's nice to see the Xenoblade Chronicles series has been doing very well, especially on the Nintendo Switch. I've been enjoying Xenoblade Chronicles 3 though. And of course, we've also heard reports that Borderlands 3 has been rated for the Nintendo Switch. Now, this isn't the first time this has happened. Before, though, it was reported to be rated, though, but then it was reported that it was a mistake. Unclear if that's the case this time around, but assuming this is true and they decide to bring Borderlands 3 over to the Nintendo Switch, it's unclear whether it will be native or if it's going to be cloud or it's going to be one of those download-only titles. So it remains to be seen at this time what that case may be. I'm not against the idea of Borderlands 3 or Tiny Tina's Wonderland coming to the Nintendo Switch though, but I would rather wait until we hear official confirmations to know for certain if that is true or not. And now in the movie and TV show The Might You Sent, we learned that CD Projekt Red is considering more transmedia of either The Witcher and Cyberpunk following the success of Cyberpunk Edgerunner. No word on whether we'll get a season 2 or not, although it's been reported that Cyberpunk Edgerunner is only a one-off, but hey, I'm sure there's many stories in Cyberpunk 2077 that they could tell and all. We also learned that Netflix is basically doing a spin-off to that 70s show with that 90s show and all, which takes place in 1995, and it stars, Donna and Eric's, I'm saying that, I apologize if I'm getting the names wrong, though, granddaughters, and they visit, Kitty and Red's, house and everything like that. It looks like it maintains the attitude that was there for that 70s show and all. It'll be interesting to see how well this one does or not. And last but not least, we had 3 new trailers for upcoming movies that were shown off this week though. One is Transformers Rise of the Beast, which seems to be leaning more towards the Beast Wars, and although I haven't seen the Bumblebee movie, it looks like this one could be a sequel to basically the Bumblebee movie. And we also saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the teaser trailer for that one. It definitely has a different vibe to it though. I will say, if this is James Gunn's last movie into the MCU and all. I hopefully would like to see it end in a bang. And last but not least, we have the trailer for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny that they showed. The 80-year-old Harrison Ford still playing that iconic role. It kind of feels like a throwback to Raiders of the Lost Ark to some degree, but we'll see how this one is done. Obviously, I have a feeling this could be the last time we see Indiana Jones, but I could be wrong. Maybe they'll do one more Indiana Jones or not, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Okay, with the Quick My 2 Cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with GameStop, an interesting situation that emerged with an update and a response from GameStop itself. Now, apparently there was an interesting story that happened, and that some people discovered something when going to GameStop's website and all that stuff. Most of this may have to do with the fact that people's information was out there and the possibility that their credit card information may come out. This might be those who sign up to GameStop where it's their power-ups or rewards points or anything like that. And well, a lot of people posted this, talked about this on Reddit and all, to the point that it got GameStop to make a response to it though. In an article from Video Game Chronicles though, it reads that, quote, retailer GameStop has reportedly leaked customers' information, including billing address and payment history. Excuse me. According to multiple users on social media, for a period of time on Saturday, customers were being shown other users' information when refreshing their order page. It's not clear if this includes full credit card numbers, but one user shared an image showing a particular number. The person said, quote, every time I refresh the website, I can see someone else's name, phone number, address, order history. It's like a cycle of four or five people, wrote one Reddit user. This is very worrisome. Can't even change password because of this glitch. Another person wrote, oh God, I tried it and doing it for me too. Add another user, addresses, birthdays, email. This is really bad. One person basically wrote on Twitter, basically saying, quote, WTF, every time I refresh my account, I see other people's info and orders, even address. Is this real? They added, you can view the digital currency codes as it sends the verification code to your own email. My friend was able to view credit card numbers by clicking on the card, but the site reloads quickly after that. One Twitter user was able to cycle through multiple accounts profiled by refreshing their page on Saturday. GameStop's website was tripping out and keep hopping me between a couple dozen different portfolios. Well, the name at the top of the screen keeps changing, the items in the cart and the pro reward points. Though I was being hella hacked, but the GameStop app seemed to be stable. VGC has requested comments from GameStop and will update when they receive a response. By November 27th, GameStop has basically responded to this, and this is what they had to say. Quote, GameStop's customer care team has responded claiming that the address and names appearing in customers' accounts were part of a test and not actual customer data. This was immediately fixed the same day it took place, it told VGC. This was a test data created by our team, not actual customer data. However, an online search suggests that some of the names and address that were shown to customers on its website could match real people. VGC has asked if real address data was used. Now, I can understand why some people might be a bit worried about this, though. The fact that people's information, credit card information, all could have been leaked out there and someone could actually take that information, all that stuff. Now, is it possible this could have just been a test on GameStop's part? I mean, yes, that is a possibility. I can't rule that out. But at the same time, I also can't rule out the possibility that this could also be damage control and all that stuff on GameStop, in which they may have really screwed up on this point. But again, I can't officially say for certain if that is true or not. We'll have to wait and see if we start hearing reports of people's, credit card information coming out because of this leak from GameStop or not. So Time will ultimately tell if that truly happens or not, though. I hope what GameStop is saying is true, that this was just testing something out, but I can understand why some people may be very worried about this, about the fact that the concern about people's credit card information may have been leaked out and all, or their purchase history through GameStop. So overall, I would say I hope what GameStop is saying is true, is a glitch, but I think this would hit the fan really bad for them if it turns out that someone stole credit card information because they found this on refreshing a GameStop webpage and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with apparently a strategy James Gunn has in regards of the DC Extended Universe. This one is incorporating the video games to tie into that universe to some extent. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at an interesting strategy James Gunn has involving, the DC Extended Universe, particularly with DC video games. Now, as far as the cinematic universe goes, Marvel has pretty much remained the king since it launched the cinematic universe back in 2008 with Iron Man starring Robert Downey Jr. and all. But But as far as video games tying into the cinematic universe, I would say Disney and Marvel hasn't really followed that approach that much, though. I mean, outside of an attempt by Sega that did several, I think, an Iron Man game, Incredible Hulk, and Thor and Captain America, though, those games I think were pretty much forgotten, to be exact, though. So there really hasn't been really any attempt to try to tie in, any of the video games to basically the cinematic universe and all. Well, it seems as though James Gunn is looking at taking a different approach than what Disney and Marvel is doing once he's done directing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. In an article posted by GameSpot, it reads that, quote, having recently been let me just scoot this over. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. Having recently been appointed co-chairman and co-CEO of DC Studios, filmmaker James Gunn has provided a brief update on how future DC video games will help form part of a larger connected universe alongside other multimedia projects. Over on Twitter, Gunn confirmed that the new DC universe will be connected across films and TVs, and when asked if this strategy would include video games, Gunn gave a quick yes apply, though. This ties into Warner Brothers Discovery head David previous comment about the hiring of Gunn and Peter Safran, if I'm saying the name correctly, to spearhead a new direction for the DC universe, as the executive mentioned that the duo will help build a Bible for a cohesive DC universe across live action, film, TV, animation, games, and more. This, of course, a different approach to what Warner Brothers and DC main rival, Disney and Marvel, has done in the video game space over the last couple of years. Spider-Man, Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy games have been some of the biggest titles released so far, and each one of them have been separated from the others and have featured its own distinct continuity, though. Gunn's quick response doesn't mention if there will be a dedicated subline of DCEU video games that coexist with the established properties, such as Arkham series of Batman games, or Mortal Kombat developer NetherRealm's Injustice lines of fighting games, but with a multiverse to draw inspiration from. Anything is possible, though. The current state of DC games include the recently released Gotham Knights, which has received a lukewarm criticism so far, and 2023 Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, a four-player co-op shooter that takes place after the events of Batman's Arkham trilogy and is set in Superman's stomping ground Metropolis. The game stars Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, and King Shark. Now, could this strategy in any way work? It's a possibility, though. The idea of having the video games, tie into the DC extended universe or cinematic universe, however their approach is going to be. It's going to be interesting. It could give us clues like what happens in the game. We might hear about it in the movies or what happens in the movies, we'll hear about it in the video game. So it's kind of a somewhat strategy we saw, at least what Marvel tried with, Netflix's Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Defenders, to even Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., although there's been some debate whether they are part of the MCU or not. But I mean, it is possible this strategy could work. But at the same time, it can also not work at all. And there's a possibility of the quality of the titles, such as getting these titles out in time for like when the upcoming DC movie comes out and all. And I'm worried about them being, either cash grab or just broken, buggy, glitchy type of a game. So I'm kind of mixed on this approach, though. I can see the potential into what James Gunn is trying to aim for, but I can also see how this could also how this could also fall apart very easily, though. Still, I mean, it's too early to tell to see how this will all play out, though. We haven't heard any announcements of any games taking place in the DC Extended Universe. The only games we've heard so far, I think, is rumors about, I think the Wonder Woman, to the upcoming Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. So we'll have to wait and see how this strategy is going to play out. So overall, it's an interesting strategy that James Gunn is trying to aim for, though. I think it has the potential to work, but I won't deny there are so many ways this could fall apart at the same time, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with, based on the shirt and the hat that I'm wearing, though, my thoughts on the second trailer for the upcoming Nintendo and Illumination's The Super Mario Brothers movie. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our third part of our My Two Cent video, and for this one, I want to give my thoughts on the second trailer that was shown for the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, back in October, though, we saw basically the first trailer that was basically dropped, though. We finally got to see, what Illuminations and Nintendo were working on. And for the most part, that trailer was actually very good, hearing Jack Black's voice Bowser and all. The one part of it that kind of got people's mixed response, depending on who you're asking, was Chris Pratt voicing Mario, though. And I will admit, though, that I was sort of mixed on him voicing Mario, though. While it wasn't necessarily cringeworthy or bad or anything like that, though, it's still, I will understand, I can kind of agree, though, that Chris Pratt isn't necessarily my first pick, but it's not to the point that I'm absolutely losing sleep over it. Well, this week, Nintendo hosted a Nintendo Super Mario Brothers movie trailer direct, though. Based on, I didn't get to see it when it premiered and all, I saw it the other day, and based on it, it's basically a 5-minute direct, which concludes with the second trailer. And the second trailer definitely showed a lot of stuff, indeed, though. We got to see basically Mario take on Donkey Kong, which is being voiced by Seth Green. Let me see. Is it Seth Green? I think so. Yeah, no. Oh, Seth Rogen. My bad. Wrong actor, though. I apologize. Seth Rogen, though. Although maybe I missed something. I didn't hear his Donkey Kong character, though. But we did get to see, what we saw was basically Mario and Donkey Kong duking it out on the red, like a rail used from the classic Donkey Kong game, which looks like something ripped out of the Smash Brothers and all that stuff, and Donkey Kong going to town with Mario, like really going to town, though. We also got a chance to hear a little bit more of Bowser being voiced by Jack Black, and Luigi, I believe, is Charles Daniel. I apologize if I'm not getting the actor's name correctly, though, which definitely sound like, yeah, that certainly sound good as someone voicing Luigi. And finally, we also got a chance to hear basically Anna Taylor-Joy voice Princess Peach and all that stuff. And it's a very interesting take on Princess Peach, as this one seems more of a like a strong leader in a way. There's one scene where she looks like she's wearing the biker outfit that you remember from like the Mario Kart game, with an axe ready, waiting for Bowser, Bowser's castle and all, making its way to the Mushroom Kingdom and all. We also got to see basically what looks like an obstacle course, kind of like a throwback to like the classic Mario level that Mario's trying to train on, though, which is certainly neat. We see him getting attacked by a bullet bull, to even going through, the moving platforms, to landing on the donuts that if you stay too long, they fall and all that stuff. That was first premiered in Super Mario Bros. 3. And we also got to see some power-ups, to be exact. We saw Mario riding a Tahuki suit, or wearing the Tahuki suit, though. And we saw Peach, which basically looks like a garden of fire flowers. And it's going to be interesting to see if we see other things like the Hammer Brothers suit, or the raccoon suit, or basically like the frog suit or anything like that, or Cape Mario and all. So it'll be interesting if other power-ups make an appearance in this movie. And we also got to briefly see the Yoshis and all. And the trailer pretty much ended with basically them with a Mario Kart like level, which looks like something out of basically looks like Rainbow Road to a certain extent. And we got to see like Donkey Kong and perhaps Kiddy Kong and all that stuff. So I will say the trailer was definitely impressive and all. Now obviously the big one that still remains is Chris Pratt voicing Mario. And I will say that my opinion on him voicing Mario hasn't really changed that much. But after seeing this trailer, I would say I feel a little bit more comfortable with him voicing Mario, even though he is not necessarily my first pick. I know the internet likes to make a big deal on a lot of things, and sometimes I do think the internet sometimes blows things way out of proportion. There are times when that has happened before. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, but honestly, it doesn't change the fact that I'm not bothered with the idea of Chris Pratt voicing Mario or anything like that. Yes, he's not my first pick. I've said that before, and I will stand behind that. But I also do not think that based on what I've heard so far, it doesn't feel cringeworthy or anything like that. When I hear him basically saying this and that, hearing him saying "It's a me, Mario," it's not perfect, but it's not horrible or anything like that. I sort of have a similar view with actress Anna Taylor-Joy voicing Princess Peach, though. Again, not a bad, I'm not saying her voice acting is bad or anything like that. It's not, and I certainly don't have any issues with it, though. But I will admit, just like with Chris Pratt voicing Mario, it just doesn't sound the same from the Peach, that the voice acting from Peach we knew, whether it was from Super Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, or Mario Galaxy, or even Odyssey, or even basically Super Mario 3D World and all. But it's not terrible or anything like that. If there are some certain areas I would definitely nitpick at, though, which yes, I, as a Nintendo fan, I sadly will have to nitpick at some of this stuff, though. I will say Peach's design, not terrible, but doesn't look... It just looks more like something I would see from Illumination. It just doesn't look close to what design we see with what Peach looks like in like in the Mario video games and all. It's not terrible or anything like that, and I will give Illumination credit for staying as close to the source material as possible, though. But I'm just her design's okay, just not necessarily exactly how it is in the video games and all. And last but not least, while I have nothing against, Bowser's floating castle coming to invading the Mushroom Kingdom and all, just like it was in the first trailer where he basically was invading this Ice Kingdom, though, I personally would have preferred the approach of them using an armada of airships that first appeared in Super Mario Bros. 3 and was being used in the new Super Mario Bros. Video games, new Super Mario Bros. U to be exact. I think I would prefer that over the floating airship and all, but despite some of the nitpicking and all, I am definitely, though, excuse me, I am definitely hyped for this movie, though. I am definitely looking forward to when it comes out in April. I'm definitely might go see this with my nephew, who also wants to go see it as well. So it's definitely on my radar, to be exact, though. And I think this is sort of like the Mario movie a lot of us has been waiting for a long, long time. Yes, we had the live-action Super Mario Brothers starring late Bob Hawkins and John Leguizamo back in the 90s. And while it has earned the reputation of it being so bad it's good, it's one of that movie kind of scared Nintendo from doing any movies for a while, though, to be exact, though. As far as do I expect this movie is going to get delayed or not, I would say unless something major happens, I seriously doubt this movie will be delayed and all. As far as basically them recasting Chris Pratt, I mean, despite the internet going as it is, though, I seriously doubt they're going to do that, though. I don't see this turning into sort of the ugly Sonic situation where Paramount originally had the plan to release Sonic the Hedgehog in 2019 in November, but pushed it back to February 2020, though. So I really don't see that happening with that, though. And I know some people are making a big deal, Chris Pratt voicing Mario, but to me it's not that huge of a deal, to be exact. But in either case, I'm looking forward to this movie, though. So overall, I would say love the second trailer. Definitely hyped for this movie, though. But I will admit, doesn't completely change my opinion about Chris Pratt voicing Mario, but I'm not losing complete sleep over it or anything like that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part. And this one has to do with Nintendo responding to some of the bugs and glitches that has happened with the recent release of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My Two Cent video. And for this one, we're going to be talking about Pokemon, particularly Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, though. Now, it's obviously clear that games have been out, though, and they have been selling very well for Nintendo and Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, though. Obviously, because it's Pokemon and the huge fan base that is out there, though. Again, I'm not really a Pokemon fan, but I don't deny that there are those out there that are huge fans of the games or the franchise in general. However, this latest release of Pokemon, however, has caught a lot of people's attention, as it turns out to be there are an amount of bugs and glitches in this game, though, to be exact, though. And it also brings up the issue about the performance of the game in general. It has so far gotten to the point that basically Nintendo has now, despite the game selling very well and all, has announced an apology and announced addressing the issue, though. In an article from CNET, though, it reads that, quote, Pokemon players are experiencing all levels of janky performance in Scarlet and Violet. Nintendo even apologized for the issue in the patch note for an update going live sometime Thursday. Supposedly it's updated now. From constant frame rate drops to disappearing character models to occasional crash, the problem has low-key turned into a mean competition on Twitter to see who can find the worst glitch in the game. We are aware that players may encounter issues that affect the game's performance, Nintendo said in the patch note. Our goal is always to give players a positive experience with our games, and we apologize for this inconvenience. We take feedback from the players seriously, and we are working on improving the game, though. The update comes later Thursday, is the biggest patch since the game was released 2 weeks ago, along with other selected bug fix. The update resolves issues that cause music to play incorrectly. The update also kicks off Series 1 of ranked battles through battle stadiums. With Nintendo's apology comes the possibility that we will see more subsidiary, if I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly, updates in the coming months with many fixes, more on many performance issues, though. Now, I will say, in terms of this, though, I will applaud Nintendo for at least coming out and apologizing for it and trying to address the problems and all that stuff. However, like with Cyberpunk 2077, that doesn't mean Nintendo is completely immune to any criticism about this game. And obviously, just like with Cyberpunk 2077, this game should never have launched in that particular state, though. The fact that someone at Nintendo or Game Freak or anybody in general thought, yeah, this is okay to launch, let's launch it out there, is completely, in my view, unacceptable, considering Nintendo's history of putting out quality, value, and content in a lot of their games. So to see it launch in this kind of condition is just really, really unacceptable. To me, it sounds like there may have to be a change in the way Game Freak is handling some of these games, whether it's they need to change the engine, change their approach, whether continue with open world or not, or even have someone else handle development of the game, not have Game Freak be the only ones handle it, to be exact, though. Obviously, this did not have any kind of impact on basically the sales number, as the game continues to sell very well, but it still is, in my opinion, very inexcusable for the game to launch in this state, or any game in the matter to launch in the state that is already in it all. Now, obviously, they did not get the potential backlash on the level as, say, what CD Projekt Red did with Cyberpunk 2077, to the point that they had to offer refunds or anything like that. But still, it is very inexcusable, though. I mean, could this mean that the game could turn around and these updates and fixes will ultimately make the game better? That is a possibility. I cannot completely rule that out in any way. But it doesn't change the fact that this game should never have launched in the state that it was already in. I mean, can you imagine how many people would be upset if a Mario game was launched in that kind of state, or even a Zelda game in that kind of a state and all that stuff? I mean, those are quality products for Nintendo, and to have a game like this launch in this kind of state is completely unacceptable and all. Hopefully the game will be better over time and all that stuff, but like I said, this is inexcusable, to be exact. So overall, though, like I said earlier, I'm glad Nintendo is addressing the issue, but it doesn't immune them from the criticism of how this game was launched obviously in a very bad state, and it should have never launched in that state in the first place, though. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about this situation surrounding GameStop and the possibility that people's purchase history or credit card information was leaked? Do you agree with what GameStop, that this was just them testing bugs and all that stuff, or do you think this is a damage control on them, to be exact? And are you worried about your information being stored in GameStop or any place in general and all? What are your thoughts about James Gunn's approach to doing like the DC video games and tying them into like the DC extended universe? Do you think this idea could work? Do you think it has potential, or are you concerned that this idea may not work at all? What are your thoughts about the second trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie, though? Does that movie has it made you hype? Are you looking forward to seeing this movie, though? Are you okay with Chris Pratt's voice in Mario? Are you not okay? Or are you more like, not my first pick, but it's not something I'm losing absolute sleep over in any way? And what are your thoughts about the situation with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Nintendo apologizing for the bugs and glitches in the game? Do you think Nintendo did the right thing to apologize? Do you think that this game should have not launched in the current state that it was though? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I will appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you watch this on YouTube. Excuse me. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.